Hi, I'm Luna, and this is going to be just an easy stretch class where we actually get to be on our back the whole entire time. So it's quite lovely, but we will be really opening the body in all different directions, a little bit more passively. And you might want to have a strap nearby, and if you do have a strap, make a big loop with it. It's like a big loop. If you don't have a strap, no worries, but do grab like a little towel, like a towel or a scarf or a t-shirt, and that'll also work. And then I would also recommend 2 blocks just for this beginning. Actually, at least 1 block, but 2 blocks will be nice to have. If you don't have a block, you can just do like stacked up books, which is totally fine. Maybe like a little towel or blanket over the book so it's more comfortable underneath your low back. And if you don't have the 2 blocks, you can just use like pillows. So get creative. Totally fine if you don't have these props. We can figure it out. But we're going to get started lying on our backs. And we're going to start with the soles of the feet together and the knees wide like this. And this is when it could be quite nice to bring your blocks underneath like your outer thighs, outer hips at any height at all. And again, you could use like pillows or rolled up blankets or whatever to give yourself like a little bit of support. So that when you lie down onto your back, you feel pretty comfortable. It's not like this excruciating stretch, and instead it's just kind of a gentle stretch to open your inner thighs and your outer hips. And then go ahead and just bring your hands to your torso anywhere that feels comfortable to you. Oh, and then just close your eyes and give yourself a moment to tune in. So this practice of letting go, of kind of grounding down, is very important for our entire beings. We live in this very kind of fast-paced external world where we're going. We feel like we always need to be doing something or thinking something in order to get anything done. But actually, it's so very beneficial to let go, to soften, to slow down. It's a really nice balance between all the work that we do, physically, mentally. So we can feel a little bit more balanced, a little bit more whole, a little bit ourselves. So just give yourself a couple more long, deep breaths here. And maybe you do feel like you feel a little bit more open in your hips and you can move your blocks a little bit farther away or whatever props you've got underneath you to continue to dive a little bit deeper into the hip stretch. And then just gradually deepen your breath, inhaling a little bit more, exhaling a little bit more, and just continue like that a couple more rounds. Inhaling low abdomen, low lungs, mid lungs, all the way into the upper chest. Exhaling from the upper chest to the side waist, all the way back down towards the pit of your stomach. Another round like that. Inhaling deeply. And exhaling fully. Great. And then just move your knees to touch. You could use your hands or not to move your knees together. Move your feet a little wide and the knees to touch, just giving yourself a moment, this kind of opposite direction of our legs. The low back can spread here. And then you're just going to have one of your blocks or your variation of the blocks. Have your feet hip distance apart. Go ahead and lift your hips up off of the floor and sneak a block underneath your hips. Could be the lowest height, could be the middle height. If you live in a super bendy body, maybe the highest height, but you feel it out. Doesn't really matter how high it is. It matters how it feels in your body. And you want the block right underneath your sacrum. That flat bone just above your tailbone, the junction of your spine and your hips. So less low back and more like truly underneath your hips. And then you can just have your arms on either side of you. I would even recommend palms facing up for now. And then if you feel quite stable, you're just going to straighten your legs in front of you. And then just kind of allow your feet to splay open. Allow your front body to find a little bit more space, hopefully into the front of the thighs specifically. So as hip flexors. If you want to dive even deeper, you can reach your arms over your head now and clasp opposite elbows. And just try to soften. Breathing into the front body. If you haven't already, you can trickle into your Ujjayi breath. It's our ocean-sounding breath of yoga. There's a little restriction across the back of your throat, kind of like you're fogging up a mirror. And that's going to help harness your mind to your body, so keeping your mind in the present moment, which is really what yoga is all about. And it's also going to help, it's almost like a lullaby for your mind. It kind of soothes the mind, this whispering inhale and whispering exhale. Just clasp the opposite forearm in front if you're in that variation. It's a tiny little adjustment, but it just gives both of the sides of the body the exact same stretch. And then go ahead and bend your knees. You can release your arms to your side body, how we started. Soles of the feet to the floor. Lift your hips off of that block and slowly lower your hips back down onto the floor. Just give yourself a moment. You can allow the knees to, again, knock in, but try to keep the feet hip distance for now. Great. And then move your knees hip distance. We're going to press the feet down, lift the hips up. And then interlace the fingers underneath you, right thumb on top. And if you can't grab hold of your fingers, no worries. Grab hold of your strap or your towel to give your body a little bit more space. But actively wrap your outer upper arms underneath you and the inner upper arms up to the ceiling. So if you've got the strap, your hands will probably, your palms will be kind of facing up towards the ceiling. If you don't have the strap, interlacing the fingers, of course, palms will be facing one another, but like your forearms are kind of wrapping up towards the ceiling. And then we're just going to lower, keep the bind of your hands, but lower your hips down onto your arms. I like to bring my pinkies in front of one another if you've got the bind of the interlacing of the fingers, so it's a little bit more stable. And then we're just chilling out here in a shoulder stretch. Again, you could be holding on to a strap instead, and you would just lower your hips down onto the strap, but try to keep the hold of the strap. So we're probably most likely having our body actually on our arms. And this is actually a little bit of a nice release for your wrists. And also it's creating space in your chest and your shoulders. One more breath here. And then press your feet down, lift your hips up. You can release the bind of your arms for a moment, maybe open your arms wide, let them breathe. And then interlace the fingers, opposite thumb on top, left thumb on top, or you're grabbing hold of your strap again, right? Then wrapping outer upper arms underneath you, inner upper arms up towards the ceiling. Either way is totally cool. And then lower your hips back down onto either your strap with the hold of the strap, or lower your hips back down onto your wrists, your hands, your forearms. Notice if you're like really overly back bending, think about lengthening your tailbone forward. So your low back feels long, and we're just feeling this like little mini back bend of your upper back, which is nice. This pose is nice because our body just wants to like hunch all the time, right? The shoulders rolling forward and down. So we're kind of forcing our body to hold itself in the opposite direction. Try to soften into it, even though this probably isn't the most comfortable thing you've ever done. And then press your feet down, lift your hips up, reach your arms wide, and then lower your hips back down. Do again, wiggle your feet wider, heel toe your feet wider, and allow your knees to knock in towards one another, allowing the low back to spread and soften again. And now you might need to push your blocks away a little bit. You were just going to do with the feet wide and the knees towards one another. You're just going to sway your shins over to one side, and you can roll to the inner and outer foot. And then sway your shins to the other side. And just do that a couple more times. It's like a little mini twists for your low back. And almost like a little mini massage for your low back to the floor. Next time, both of your shins rock over to the right. Keep them there. And then bring your right ankle on top of your left knee and flex through both of your feet. And then your right ankle is not only pushing your left knee towards the floor, just gently, but also it's kind of pulling the front of your left thigh forward in space. So you're actually lengthening the front of the left thigh. And then reach your arms over your head, arms straight now, and catch your left wrist with your right hand. Pull your left wrist to the back of the room and over towards the right wall. So you feel like you're creating a little bit of a crescent moon or a banana shape from your left knee to your left fingertips. Lengthen your tailbone forward towards the front of the room. And then we're here for a couple of long breaths. Try to keep your left shoulder pretty grounded, even though you are pulling through your left fingertips. Breathing into the side waist. And then release the bind of your arms. Keep your right ankle on top of your left knee. Shift your left knee up. Wiggle your left foot a little bit more central. And then let's first start off with just pushing your right thigh away from you with your right hand. Flex to your right foot a lot. You can even kind of walk your left foot towards you a little bit more. We're trying to keep the hips in alignment with one another. So notice if one hip kind of skews forward, try to keep the hips in alignment. And the low back is grounded. And maybe this feels good to you, then you stay. Some of you might thread your right arm between your legs, meet it with your left hand behind your left thigh. And you could do a mixture of the two. You could actually, instead, if that's kind of hard, a big ask for your body to grab hold of the back of your left leg, then grab hold of your strap. I like to double it up so it's a little bit more supportive and has a little bit more space. And then you grab hold of your strap like this around your left thigh and gently pull your left thigh towards you. Or interlacing the fingers. So you make it your pose and then we hang. Breathing into the outer right hip. Shoulders heavy. Face muscles soft. If your head ends up lifting off of the floor, maybe you sneak your block underneath your head or a pillow or a folded up blanket or whatever to give your neck this moment to let go so it doesn't have to work at all. So we're pulling the left knee towards us and energetically wrapping the right knee away from you, getting into the outer right hip. So you're going to keep this shape, but release your arms. You can tap your left foot down for a moment. Push your hips over to the right, like 2 inches. And then keep this shape, though. It's going to be a little weird. You're going to roll to the outer left thigh, so the left knee knocks to the floor. Keep the right sole of your foot on the ground. So we're keeping that weird shape, kind of figure 4 shape. And then I like to even kind of keep my left hand onto my right foot to keep my right foot grounded because it kind of likes to push away. So keep it in place. And then again, energetically wrap your right knee away from you. So we're getting into a little bit of a different area of the outer hip, the side body. Then reach your right arm to the right. So it feels like a little mini twist happening. Right foot is grounding, right knee moving away from you, chest open. And then slowly come back through center. Unravel your legs. Feet wide, knees touching. Give yourself a moment to neutralize from left and right. Notice how you feel in that right hip. And then give yourself a little shift of the shins, rocking them from side to side. Little mini rocks and rolls of the low back. And then the next time, both of your shins rock over to the left. Keep them there. And then bring your left ankle on top of your right knee. Flex through your left foot a lot. Reach your arms over your head. Catch your right wrist. Pull your right wrist back and over to the left, but try to keep the right shoulder grounded. Really lengthen the tailbone like towards your right knee, towards like the back of the right knee. That's going to help you continue to stretch into the front of the right thigh. Breathing into it. And then you'll slowly come back through center. Keep your left ankle on top of the right knee, though. You can release your arms for a moment. Heel toe, or just step the right foot to the right a little. Hug the right heel toward your right hip more, but keep the foot grounded. And then flex through your left foot and push your left thigh away from you. Just starting off with this hip. You can totally stay right here if this feels good. You can also use your strap, lasso it around your right leg. Your left arm is between your legs, right hand on like outer leg. You could grab hold of your strap, right? Or your towel or whatever. If that's going to give you more space and comfort, great. You could also interlace your fingers. Flex through your left foot, gently pulling the right leg towards you, gently pushing your left leg away from you. Maybe closing your eyes, a couple of long breaths here, getting into the outer left hip. Okay, you're going to keep this shape. Release your arms. You can tap the right foot down, push your hips to the left, just like an inch or two, and then roll to the outer right thigh and hip, but keep your left foot grounded on the floor and maybe use your right hand to kind of pull your left foot to the floor so it doesn't kind of drive forward. And then you're energetically wrapping your left knee away from you as you open your chest. Couple of long breaths here. See if with every moment you can just relax into it a little bit more. Even if it feels kind of uncomfortable and weird to your body. See if you can just kind of soften into it a little bit more. Really, it's through the breath. Long inhales. Full exhales. Great. You're going to slowly come back through center and then unravel your legs. You can just gently hug your knees into your chest now, a little rock from side to side, massaging your low back to the floor. And then grab a hold of your strap. So it's got a big loop in it. You're actually going to bring like your whole body into the loop, almost like you're putting on a shirt, and then bring the strap. It should be like right where the bottom tips of your shoulder blades are, pretty much right there, maybe a little higher than that, but like shoulder blades. And then wrap the strap around your right foot. And I like to have the buckle not on my back or my foot, right? So kind of give yourself that space. If you don't have a strap, no worries. Just lasso your towel, shirt, whatever you've got around your right foot and hold it with your right hand. Totally cool. And then straighten your left leg down onto the mat. If your left leg being straight on the mat feels like too much for you, then you can actually just bend your left knee. That's totally fine. If it feels all right, left leg straight. And then you can kind of choose, right? You can give yourself more slack with the strap, right? So your leg isn't so close to your body. You could tighten it a little bit if you want to give yourself a little bit of a deeper stretch. That strap is lassoed right around like your upper back where your shoulder blades are. And then we get to just chill out here. You could even kind of be soft with your left leg. You can be soft with your right leg. Just hanging out. Long, deep breaths. Maybe after a couple of breaths, you would want to pull the strap a little bit tighter. Right leg does not have to be totally straight, but you are moving it in that direction. Breathing into the stretch of the back of your right leg, hamstrings and calf. Great, so you're gonna keep this, and then slowly you're just gonna open your right leg to the right, to the degree that's comfortable in your body. You might need to engage your left leg just so that the left side of your body stays supported, like and on the ground. So no, don't allow your left hip to lift off of the floor. Try to keep your left hip grounded as you open your right leg to the right. Maybe even bring your left hand to your left hip. You might need to kind of adjust with the strap a little bit. So the right leg opens to the right, and then we hang out here. Again, the right leg does not have to be totally straight. You can have a little bend of the knee. That is totally fine. Breathing into the inner right leg. And the more the left side of the body stays grounded, the deeper stretch you're going to get in the inner right leg. Cool. Slowly lift the right leg back up. You might kind of adjust with the strap. Okay, you're going to bend your left knee, sole the foot to the floor. Push your hips to the right, another inch. Then you can straighten your left leg. And then you're going to just slow motion move your right leg over to the left. And you can actually roll, like give yourself a little moment in this halfway step of your IT band stretch, right leg to the left. So we're still pretty much straight on our backs for this little moment. Right leg over to the left. It's more about like stretching into the outer right leg, outer right hip, and this kind of side waist, and then be there for a couple of breaths. And then we are going to morph into a full twist. So the right leg all the way over to the left. It might even touch the floor, but it doesn't have to. You could even bring it onto a block or a rolled up blanket for support if that feels good. Now we are actually rolling to the outer left hip and the left toes are facing the left wall, the left side of the body. But then revolve your chest open to the right wall and the right shoulder grounds towards the floor. And you can always kind of adjust around with your strap a little bit. And then we just get to chill out. Long, deep breaths, more and more. Might even feel good to inhale deeply and like let out a little moan. Little hum. So we're going to inhale, lift the right leg all the way back up. You could use your hands to help, or you could not. And then sway your hips back to the center. And then bring your left foot in the strap. And again, if you've got the strap in your hand, you know, you're just opening and moving to the side. No worries, all good. We're still getting the same benefits. So now that your left foot is in the strap, you might be holding on to it. Or strap wrapping around it. Maybe you start, like ease yourself off of it a little bit for the first moment. Maybe you pull your strap a little bit tighter. You kind of ease your way into what feels good to you. like better than a nap. Just relaxing and stretching and creating space. For some of us. Some of you are probably like, what? This is not that comfortable. I don't know what you're talking about. But it can be. Great. So you're just going to slowly open your left leg to the left. You might need to adjust it with the strap a little. Maybe it's just a little over to the left, maybe a lot over to the left. Maybe you're bending your left knee a little bit because that feels good. You feel it out. And then you might need to kind of strengthen the right leg a little here just to support so the right side of the body stays grounded. You could even bring your right hand to your right hip to keep your right hip grounded. And you can always just give yourself more slack with the strap, less slack with the strap, make it your own pose. And you'd be holding onto the strap with your left hand still here. Or the towel or whatever you've got. Your makeshift strap. And then you'll slowly come back through center. You might need to adjust the strap a little bit. Bend the right knee, sole the foot to the floor. Push your hips to the left an inch or so. Straighten the right leg. Move your left leg to the right. Maybe just a couple of inches and we're chilling. This kind of IT band stretch. Breathing into the outer right leg. It's a little different for everyone, so you feel it out. Maybe you actually need to bend the knee a little, or maybe you need to straighten the leg a little bit more. Give yourself more slack or less slack with the strap. So by now you could have hold of the strap with your right hand if you're doing the makeshift strap. And then you'll morph into the full twist, left leg all over the right. Push your hips to the left and enter two. So you're really keeping hips in alignment with the shoulders. You might need to adjust with your strap like I need to. And then revolve your chest open to the left. So you grab hold of the strap, the makeshift strap with your right hand by now, if you're in that. Maybe left leg is on a block or a rolled up blanket if that's more comfortable. Maybe it's just hovering. That's cool too. And then you'll inhale, lift your left foot back up. You might need to kind of adjust with your strap, and then you can push your hips to the right, then move your right foot in the strap. You might give yourself more slack or less slack. I'm gonna give myself a little bit more slack. And then we're chilling here for one last stretch. Maybe pulling the strap a little tighter. You kind of feel it out with your body. Breathing into the whole back body. And then you'll bend the knees, remove the strap altogether, move it to the side, hug your knees into your chest, come into happy baby pose. You could grab hold of your outer shins, your outer ankles, your outer feet. Just gently pull your ankles and your knees down to the floor, wide of the torso. Here for a couple of long breaths. So beneficial for your low back, this pose. All right, and then hug the knees back into the chest for one last squeeze. And then release your legs long for Shavasana. Allow the feet to splay open. Arms on either side of you, palms facing up. You could give yourself one last full deep inhale. Maybe an open-mouthed exhale. And then see if you can let go completely. It might be a little bit easier now that we did all those stretches. We kind of slowed down the pace of the breath. We grounded energetically. See if you can just find this little moment of stillness, purposefully doing nothing at all. This is the time where your entire being can take in all the good you've just done for it. Not only physically, also energetically, mentally, emotionally. Psychologically. Super beneficial to do nothing at all and be aware of doing nothing at all. It's like resetting your entire system, your entire being. And then stay here as long as you'd like, just enjoying this moment of stillness. Thank you for practicing. Namaste.